Today, guys, welcome back to Flashlightunity. I'm Theora. Okay, my phone cut off earlier, so I didn't get a chance to finish the video. So I'm finishing it now. So I had to come indoors. It was cold outside. It was seasonably cool, too cool for me to sit out there. And plus, my phone cut off. So I am indoors now. And welcome back. And we're gonna dive right back into it. We were speaking on fear. I think the last thing that I said was about how it's important to get things outside of yourself because, you're comfortable. You're with the insides of yourself, because you're looking at it from a perspective of you. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's very important to put things down on paper or even sometimes speak into a recorder because, fear is that tricky emotion, is that tricky little thing that disguises itself. And some people will say, oh no, I'm fine. Oh no, I'm fine. But deep inside, they are terrified, and it's no one specific reason of what they're terrified of. It's just a level of fear that they have. And so because this is an individual undertaking, each person is going to have to be diligent and in the analyzation of the fear that they have within themselves, because people can lie. You can lie to other people about not being fearful or being okay and this, that, and the other. But in this particular case, what I'm talking about in relation to consciousness, the truth is in the pudding, because like I said, our thoughts create our reality. So your reality is your evidence all day long. Your reality is your evidence all day long because, and you know how the saying goes, you never know how stupid somebody is. And I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm giving an example. And in this case, let's use fearful. You never know how fearful somebody is until they open their mouth or you take a peek into their life, and that definitely applies here. So when I say this is the time to be real with yourself, because it ain't no future in fooling yourself. You can try to fool the people, most of the time, but there ain't no future in fooling yourself. I mean, think about it, because I can't imagine that anybody would want their life to be like just stagnant, them falling for like everything that's being said, them feeling a certain kind of way when the powers that be implement or disperse of a certain level of feeling or emotion that they want people to feel. This is where we're gonna have to put up our shields. In my mind, this whole world is like a big old like superhero, and we are our own superhero. This world is like a big old Marvel episode, and it's just ongoing, and it can be as fun and adventurous and happy and surprising as we want it to be, or we can make it a boring Marvel episode where nothing gets done because people are scared, they're frightened, they're shy, they closed off, they don't want to talk, they don't want to express themselves, and they don't want to learn anything new. So you have to decide what episode you're going to be in, because I already told you my episode is like a carnival, and now that I think about it, I want to throw in a little drama, a little action. I want my episode, my life, my journey here on this earth to be as exciting as it possibly can, because there was a lot of time. I don't want to say wasted, because I think everybody's at a place, but the place that you're at, you were probably led there to get you to a different place. So, throughout my life, I wasn't always like this. Like I was in the same situation, but I'm telling you, I always had that level of, maybe in the background of my mind, where my mind would not let it go. It was just like, I just cannot believe, because I put the divine in high honor, our creator. When I look around this world and I see the magnificent things that, our creator has made, there is no way. The beauty, I mean, when you think about it, just look around in nature, look around in this world and just take in all of the beauty that the divine creator has made in this world. And you can't tell me somebody who made the beauty, that we see, the magic that the ocean is magic all by itself. All the magic that we see, that she made it so people can be miserable. There's no way. Think about islands, Caribbean islands. It's just, so we can go down a never-ending list of all the magnificent things that the divine created within this earthly realm that we're living in. And so, we should be thinking of this journey as like a magical journey. We definitely should not be sitting around moping, sad, scared of our shadow, and that's what most people are. Most people are scared of their shadow. They're scared to say something. They're scared to think something. If they think something, they're going to pretend they're not thinking something. They're scared to do anything, and, these are just some of the things. This is the big thing that's holding us back. And when I talk about fear, and the reason why I'm talking about it so much, and like I said, I am going to repeat myself on this because I want to hone in. I want you to understand what I'm actually saying. Understand the words that's coming out of my mouth. I want you to actually get it. I want you to really, 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 if you never was real with yourself before, because, I get it. We put on a face, we put on a mask that we put on when we go outside in public, that we want people to see. But the real us is hidden. Nobody knows the real us and how we think and how we feel. But guess what? That's not living. That's not living. You might as well be a turtle. You might as well be a turtle. Might as well be a turtle. A turtle, think about it, what a turtle does. A turtle is like one of those, he's scared of his shadow. And I'm not going to say all turtles, but certain turtles. I know when I see certain turtles, and they might be the little ones or maybe the medium ones, every time they see somebody, like even in the water, I used to go to this park, and a turtle would come up to the surface. If I was standing there like, oh, I just said, oh, a turtle, he would jump back down in the water and go back in the water where he don't want to be seen. And so what about turtles that's on land? Turtles that's on land, the minute somebody come around that they feel like gonna hurt them or whatever, they pull everything back into their shell. They keep going into their shell. A turtle is a turtle. It's okay for a turtle to do that because that's what he was created to do. But for you to take on a turtle's job and keep pulling yourself back in your shell, pulling everything back in your shell, not being your true self, not expressing yourself, not expressing how you truly feel, not living the way you truly want to live, not believing how you truly want to believe, then you taking the turtle's job. And that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You do not want on your tombstone to be, here lies such and such, who lived her life or his life as a turtle. That is not what you want. That is not what we want. And I'm going to answer for everybody. That is not what we want. Oh, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. And so we just gonna keep on working through this. Like, this is not an overnight process, but it is something to be aware of. So take heed to my words, guys. Take heed to my words, because we are at a time where the impressions that's going to be placed upon the people to instill fear is going to increase. It's going to like quadruple. And so the quadrupling is going to, if you are already fearful now, man, you might as well, you're going to be in prison. You're going to say what they call a deaf, dumb, blind, and mute monk, a mute person. That's what they call them, deaf, dumb, and blind, and unable to speak. That's what you're going to be, because the new impressions or inflictions that they're coming out with as far as to how to suppress the people, oh no, it ain't going to be no, I've been doing this long enough, now I want to go back. You're going to be so far gone that you ain't going to be able to find your way back. You're not going to be able to find your way back. So take heed to my words. Again, guys, I told you, I'm going to say things over and over and over and over again until you actually get it, because I'm trying to impress upon you how very, very important this is. I'm not just saying this, and though I'm saying it calm right now, I'm really jumping around on the inside because I really, really, really want you to get it. Fear is so broad. It's so broad. People can be fear of everything. Like the one, like it's called anthropophobia, and that is the fear of people. Imagine that. There's a lot of fears out there, but to the anthropophobia, and that is the fear of people. So there's people out there who are actually scared of other people, other people such as themselves, and this is one of those things where you're going to have to search internally. You're going to have to ask yourself, why was I created? And do I wish to fulfill the creation for which I was created? This is what you're going to have to, this is a personal thing. You're going to have to ask yourself, why was I created? And do I wish to fulfill the purpose for which I was created? Because if the answer is no, which I really, really, really hope it's not, I really hope it's not, because I want to see everybody excel. I want to see everybody prosper. You are worthy. Everybody is worthy of prospering. Everybody's worthy of excelling, to their best versions of themselves. So don't you dare. I don't want to hear about nobody trying to play the victim like, oh, no, well, that doesn't apply to me. I don't really care. No, hell no. We're not doing that. No, because, we're one. We're all connected. If we all connected to the divine force energy, we are all connected. We are one. And so you can utilize this energy from the connection that is all of us. We're all the universe and the universe is us. You can use that one force connection to help raise yourself up. Raise yourself up. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. And if you can't see to say that for yourself, this is where your imagination going to have to come into play. You are going to have to imagine like a child. You're going to have to imagine if you seen a child and you were the only adult who can actually encourage this child. You can, let's say the child felt as though you did, and you were the only adult who can actually encourage this child on how to release the fear, how to come out of your shell. What would you say to a child that was caught in the crossroads of expressing themselves, dropping the fear, living in their full purpose, doing what they love, doing what they desire, expressing how they feel, not giving a damn about what nobody else say. I mean, really like expressing it, saying, pushing caution to the wind and saying, fuck it. I don't care who like what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm believing. And this is how I'm feeling. What would you say to a child who was on the crossroads or who wanted to go be by himself when all the other kids are on the other side? All the other kids are on the side playing. They're expressing themselves. They're being authentic. They're laughing. They're being curious. And this one child is like, no, I don't want to. And you are the only one that can guide this child. What would you say? What would you say? Would you just let the child, would you tell the child to, yeah, you may be better off going over by yourself, Would you tell the child that? Or would you try to think of anything that you can possibly say to get this child to go out there and be their authentic self? They're the true versions of themselves. And even if he didn't know what the true version of himself was right then, once he started intermingling with other people, because believe it or not, other people activate us. We be around other people, they activate, a lot of times they activate who we're supposed to be, and so we need each other. That's why I said we're all connected, So just think about that. When you're thinking about yourself and you're like, oh, I'm not worthy, or I don't feel like this is, oh, here we go. Ooh. It's been a long day. Or I don't feel like this applies to me. Just imagine that child. Imagine that child, and that was scenario with the child, and you were the adult who had experiences in their life, who had way more experience than that child, who've seen some things, heard some things, learned some things, and they pretty much, you got a pretty good idea of how the world works. I mean, you understand the function of the reality now. I'm not saying you have to have all the answers, but you've been in the world longer, so you know how the world works. So what would you tell that child? And this is what we do. This is the power of the mind. We are in control of the mind. The mind is our ships and we are the captains. And so we have to take control of our minds. And sometimes that involves, kind of, tricking the mind a little bit to believe, things that we wanted to believe. And over time, we can, after a while, once we get good at it and better at it, it won't be nothing for us to think something, feel something, say something, do something. And the mind will be like, oh, yeah, roger that, I got that. And let's make it happen, But we got to get there first. We got to get there. We got to trick our mind. And that little imagination thing with, like, imagine you're a child, that's how you do it. That's one thing. If you can't see yourself actually, breaking out of this shell of fear, what would you do if a child was there and you was the only adult, the adult in the vicinity that can give this child advice to change this life? And suppose this child was meant to go do something great and everything depended on the advice that you gave this child, and the child is a metaphor for yourself, because we're all supposed to find the child within us to live this life. And when you think about how kids live this life, they live this life carefree. When if you was to see or just pay attention to all the kids that's playing outside, what do you see them playing? You see their imagination. A lot of them want to be characters. Some of them want to be animals. A lot of them say they can fly. I mean, this is how we're supposed to be. But somehow this life, the matrix, the upside down matrix that was turned upside down. It didn't just happen like that. This matrix was turned upside down by Pacific people, persons, energies, specific energies. They flipped the matrix upside down. So, some of this is it's absolutely understandable why people are the way they are. But this is our chance. We don't have to stay this way. We don't have to stay this way. I remember when I was young, and, it was like 6 of us. I had 5 brothers and sisters. And so we had a lot of rules. It was like, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. And if you didn't do this, you got woke up. If you didn't do that, you couldn't go. Like, it was just a whole bunch of rules that we had to follow. And I remember saying, man, when I get grown, all these rules like this, I'm not doing. And the dishes was like one of them, because, we would have to do the dishes, because there was a lot of us. Of course, we got to do the dishes. And so, and if we thought that we was going to go to bed and fall asleep and not have to do the dishes, we were sadly mistaken, because when my parents got home, we got woken up. If it was chores that we were supposed to do and we didn't do them, we got woken up and we had to do those chores. And you, after that, you can go back to sleep. But you weren't going to sleep through the night without doing your chores if you were supposed to do them, And so, when you have chores like that and you have to do them and you've been woken up many, many times to make sure you get those chores done, you remember that. So I remember saying, when I get grown, there's certain things that I'm not going to do, or I'm going to do it when I want to, I'm not going to, and dishes was one of them. So, so now, if in my house, if like, okay, if I got dishes in the sink, and I don't feel like doing them, hey, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait till the morning. You know what I mean? And this is just a metaphor. This is just an example of how I had to do something when I was a child. And as I got grown, I said, I made the decision for myself. I used my own mindset, my own intuition, my own discernment to say, dishes sitting in the sink overnight will not hurt nothing. It's not going to stop the world. It's not going to stop my life. It's not going to change anything in my life. It's not going to mean anything other than I waited a day to do the dishes. It's not going to do anything. But I made that decision. Before, when I was younger as a child, I couldn't make my own decisions. I had to follow who my guardian was, who my guardians and authority figures in my life was. I had to follow that. And as I became an adult, I was determined. I said, you know what? All those things as a child that I had to do and used to irritate me because I would get punished. When I say punished, I mean, if I didn't do them, I got woken up. I'm a sleeper. I like to sleep. I love my sleep, and I don't like getting woken up out of my sleep, especially to do some chores that I didn't want to do in the first place, And so, as an adult, a lot of things, I'm like, okay, well, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. There's certain ways you got to make up the bed. Certain ways I had to make up the bed when I was a child. Certain ways you have to fold up towels and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, do it really matter how a towel is folded up? Because if the towel is clean and you fold it up, the towel don't care sitting in a cabinet in a closet how it's folded. I mean, those are the things that my mind would think about. And I was like, that stuff don't even matter. It don't matter. And so I said, when I got older, I said, I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to stress about things that don't really matter, And so I was determined to live my life according to how I wanted to. And this is what I'm saying. The idea of what society is doing now, what the powers that be that's doing now in society, is almost as if they have reverted all the people back to being children, to the point where they control everything. They control what you think. They control what you do. They can sometimes control what you wear. They can control how you feel, how you act. Think about it. You got people in the LGBT, whatever. I don't know all the letters. I don't really care, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who want to be themselves, who have different ideas than other people, which is okay, but they, society would have you, want to shun people for want to express themselves and wanting to be themselves. And that's not how it's supposed to be, because the divine, when she made people, she didn't say, oh, yeah, I made these people, but I made another group of people that's going to be over these people. That wasn't the rule, because if that was the case, why would and I'm going to slavery. I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. This is my channel. If you don't like it, if it makes you feel some kind of way, then click off, because I don't really care. But I'm going to get my message out. If it was meant for another human being to be over another human being, why on earth in slavery and stuff like that would they have to force people to do certain things? You know what I mean? Because they know that nobody was in charge. It was nobody in charge but the divine. We was all supposed to come here and start exploring for ourselves. Now, one time did she say, oh, and by the way, I want this particular race to control that particular race and do it by any means possible. Hell no, she didn't say no shit like that. And so this is what I'm saying, people. Come on now. We have to wake up. We have to wake up, because every day that we sit around and we allow other people who are not over us, who are not in control of us, we are in control of our own mind, our own lives and stuff like that. Now, as far as like where you live and the state you live in and the things that's going on, those are circumstantial things. Those are absolutely circumstantial things, because I know a lot of people put those things in high. They put those things in first as far as how they want to describe the world. But those things are minute compared to how the world really is, how things really go. And when you start to utilize your mind in the proper way that it was supposed to be utilized and not listen to nobody else, then you will gain an understanding to how things are. And you will understand how just the certain kind of laws and stipulations that they make when in whatever territory you live in is just circumstantial. It is not the end all be all for how you should live your life. All it is just another man's say. Another man. And when I say man, it could be man or woman. It's another man, being like the human race. It's another man's say on what they think should be going on. And that goes for every law, for every rule, for everything. I mean, you could look at the government, you could look at police for every jurisdiction, for every legal municipality there is out there. All it is another man's say on what should be. And in my opinion, another man's say does not trump mine. You know what I mean? It does not trump mine. Now, within boundaries, within limits, right? Because, we want to, for the most part, abide. But that does not mean that we have to buy in and believe everything that's said to us. And, and if there is an injustice, it does not mean that we got to lay down and allow this injustice to just roll all over us. In my opinion, we've been laying down long enough, because look where we are. Look where we are, And so this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you to understand. A lot of people take what another man say and they take that as to be law for their life. And hell no, that's not how it go. All it is that they are the one who got to that system first. They got to a certain system, to a certain place where they said, well, I'm going to tell the people what to do. You know, you created a system, and as more people came along, all it was is just was wash, rinsed, and repeated. That's all it was. Wash, rinse, and be repeated. And we the people, you know, if we don't know, we like, okay, is this right? You know, this, that, and the other. And we know if it's right or wrong by how we feel. You know, this is how it tells us what's right or wrong. And I know I know people got feelings now. I know people are feeling like a lot of this stuff ain't right. Well, express yourself. Express yourself. Tell how you really feel. There ain't no need of saying it behind closed doors. Ain't no need of holding it in. Ain't no need of waving your hand thinking that it's going to go away, because it's not. And hear me when I speak. Hear me when I speak. At this point in time, if you think it's bad now, it's about to get real bad. The shit is about to hit the fan. If you think, when you look around this society, wherever you live is bad now, it's about to get really, really bad. So with that being said, there's no better time than the present right now. Wherever you view this video, whatever, do whatever you have to do to get yourself in the process, in the beginning stages of beginning to control your mind. Because if you think that your mind, as it is thus far right now, if you think this is as far as it go, oh no, no. They have plans to bury your mind. And when I say bury your mind, think of AI, think of a robot, you know. And, you know, we look at AI as something like external from ourselves, but in the powers that be mind, they look at AI and people, human people, as one. And I'm here to tell you, and we know that by the idea of saying, okay, well, you know, well, maybe we can put chips under people's skin and it'll have all their data on there. And maybe we can put a chip in the back of people's skull and, you know, it'll make them faster. It'll make them stronger, you know. So, you know, you just think about the language. This is what I want people to understand. Listen to the language that's coming out. Listen to the language that they're putting out. And nobody's catching that. Nobody had nothing to say about that. And then that's further. We'll talk about that at another time. But I'm just trying to appeal to your sensibilities to make you understand that this is getting really deep and it's getting really serious. And now is the time for us to start taking a change, because nobody can stop us. Who gonna stop me, boo? Who gonna stop me, boo? Who gonna stop me from controlling my mind the way I want it to think? And no, I don't have to. I can say that as much the way I want to. Do you know your constitutional rights? You know, let's start right there. You got to know what the Constitution says. What does it say? You know, what do the amendments say? First, you got to know what's there and to know if you agree or disagree. Because if you don't know what's already there, how can you disagree? So first, you got to start getting involved. You got to start reading. You got to start understanding. You got to start discerning, finding out what's there so you can figure out based on your own intuition, your own discernment, if you would agree and disagree. And as you start going down a list of these dang on policies or whatever, amendments, whatever, you know, whatever these things that's out here, as you start going down a list of the things that's out there and you find that there is more disagreements than agreements, then that's when you should use your discernment, your intuition to say, something need to change. And I guarantee you start doing that, the next person start doing that, the next person start doing that, and then the world that we see will be drastically different. And that's exactly what we need to get to. That's exactly what we need to get to, you know. So, but I didn't get to go over my fears. I'm going to do it on the next video.